very dependent upon the students' English language proficiency level and their grade level. So I decided that I wanted to focus in this lesson on the expanding to bridging. I feel like emerging students, and even primary students, K1, maybe even second grade, we have a lot of things that we can do with them. It's a lot easier. So basic nouns, verbs, chants, things like that that you can find online or that they can do fairly easily. So I decided to focus on expanding and bridging and grades 2 through 12 with the idea of what can we do to move students from a basic interpersonal communication skills level in English to a cognitive academic language proficiency level. And again, we're talking about designated ELD. Some of the considerations you saw earlier are more for integrated. But, and I decided to go with this high leverage strategy of deconstructing and reconstructing text. The reason for that is because we know a lot of districts are sending out packets, and many times there would be a text within the package, and somehow kids are going to have access to some sort of a text. So it's easy to use. You only need a text and something to write with, and then to be able to actually read. One of the silver linings, if you look on the right-hand side here, you see this Google Meet schedule. And the reason I put that up is because there is a silver lining for English learners in that you can do a Google Meet schedule and you don't have to worry about what am I going to do with the other kids when I'm pulling my English learners by their differentiated levels, right? So I could meet with all of my emerging students at one particular time and not have to worry about the students that are in other levels. This is just a sample of what that might look like, and it was shared at a webinar that I attended. And I thought, what a great idea, because it actually, it is a positive in all of this, that I can meet with different students and meet their needs at different times. The other way that this is powerful is, let's say I have a group that I only can get a hold of by phone. Then I could meet with that group and just have that be a schedule that I'm going to meet with that group at a certain time. So it could address many different levels of variability. The structure that I see that I'm using here for this deconstructing and reconstructing text lesson, I put it as 5 days. It actually could go longer or even shorter than that, depending on how much you pull from it. For day 1, you take any text and you go ahead and you introduce it. So any text, this one is actually about bees. If you scroll down to how bees make honey, the first day you introduce the text, you preview it the same way you normally would preview a text. And then on the next level is the text level. There, after I've previewed the text and we've worked with the vocabulary, etc., which you could do by phone, you could do by Flipgrid, you could also do this in a Padlet, having them respond and write everything they know about it, like a KWL. After you do that, and your second day, you come here, and we're going to look at this text at the text level. And here we are working with part 2 and structuring cohesive text, okay? This text deconstruction, this is the sequence that we use for text deconstruction and reconstruction when we're looking at whole text. So I'm going to read the text to the students and they're going to gist it. Then I'm going to orally unpack that text. And what I mean by that is it a narrative? And if so, am I going to see dialogue? What kinds of words are within that text that are specific to that structure? Then I would read it to them again and have them take notes and try and remember as much of it as possible. These are actually cheat sheets. What I'm talking about here is, and these are all hot linked for you guys in the PowerPoint, but whatever construct you use to actually unpack a text and then map it onto some sort of the elements of a narrative, etc., are this. The elements of an informative text are this, whether that be Step Up, whether it be Jane Schaefer, whatever graphic organizer you're using, you would unpack the whole text that way and talk about the text features that are unique to that particular one. There is an example in the next slide down on that informational report of things that are text features that are specific to the text type of an informational report. After you unpack that and have the students take notes while you read it again, then they would share their notes with someone else. This could be a brother, a sister, the parent, you. share it with somebody else, and then add notes from whatever their partner got out of the text itself. And then they're going to try and reconstruct whatever they heard. Then we go to the word or phrase level, and we look at the words and phrases. We look at the words and phrases that come up, and now I'm in B of my part 2 of the ELD standards. I want to look at noun phrases, prepositional phrases. I'm going to choose something as the teacher, pull that out of the text, and really look at it analytically. So this is an example of what that might look like. In this particular text, How Bees Make Honey, which is the one I'm working with in this week-long sequence, I see a lot of is plus a past participle. So it would say things like pollen is transported instead of bees transport pollen. So I want my students to pull that out. I'm going to pull out a sentence, and then I'm going to have them rewrite it in a different way, saying the same thing. Because what our English learners at this level don't have a lot of is practice playing with multiple ways to say something. The syntax, the verb structures, the noun structures, prepositional phrases, that kind of thing is difficult for them. In the blue box there, you see some suggestions as to how you might do this in the current setting. And the last one, I would really, it's hyperlinked there, that last bullet, copy and paste into Immersive Reader. I would really suggest you take a look at that, because it will put it in a format where you can have a picture dictionary, you can have it read to the student, it will tell you what the nouns and verbs are. Immersive Reader is great. And then we would go to the sentence level, and in the sentence level, you're playing with syntax. You have a very long sentence, and in that long sentence, the students would highlight all of the connectors, which they could do on your paper pencil packet if they wanted to, all the connecting words like and, but, so, all of those fanboys things. And then you would take one of the long sentences and ask the students to chop that into small sentences, and then put it back into maybe 3 sentences using a different connector. And thereby we're playing with syntax within the sentence. And on day 5, you just ask them, after doing all of that, what is it you remember about this text? Go ahead and try and reconstruct the text. So it's great for comprehension, and really is an analytical process of looking at words within text. You can do it with any text you have given the kids, either in a packet or one you're presenting to them.